Okay, great. So actually, I also recorded the video and uploaded to YouTube. And
That's great.
Yeah. So it's in the mail list, and all of you guys can see that. So I worked together with the Open Lab team, and this is a machine learning on Open Lab, and aka MOO project is a web service that can reproduce the machine learning training or inference environment for all the developers. And now the UI is very simple. Just click this workflow. Right now, it's only a very simple PoC project. So right now, it can only take the very basic MNIST training example as an input. Or any other files, remote file or local file, it cannot take this as an input. So right now, local file, we can choose a file. And we can choose this TensorFlow test with output zip as an input file. And in this input file, it contains the codes and all the codes and dataset and some requirements, and also the metadata description file. So in this part, we can choose our hardware type. It's a CPU, and now we can submit this job. So this is a job name. And we can go to the status. So here we go. So the job is submitted, and it takes several minutes to launch the virtual machine and run the whole training job.
That's amazing.
Yes. But actually, right now, there may be something wrong with the Open Lab platform, so we cannot go through the whole workflow. I can go to the YouTube video.
Can you describe a little bit how the OpenLab CI system process the metadata?
Actually, this is the hardest part, because if we set up a virtual machine, a virtual environment, it's easy to set up all those platform and infrastructures, but the metadata part is the hardest one. Right now, we can only reproduce the MNIST example.
Okay.
Because Any question?
No, go ahead.
All right. So right now, we can only take the MNIST example as an input. All the metadata like a framework, models, the version, the source, and all the training parameters, we can take this as an input. But all the others, because the metadata spec is not standardized yet. So yeah, can you see the example, the last part?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is what we think the metadata description file should look like. It should contain something like a framework, something like models and training parameters, input, output, and all the other things. But right now, the hardest part is even we develop this, we still don't know what the metadata description file should really look like, because the a machine learning job varies. It varies from image classification to segmentation to NLP problems and all kinds of problems. So there are lots of, lots of metadata. There are lots of layers and functions. So actually, this is a very hard problem, and we are also working on how to standardize this problem. So right now, we can. Our design is to make something like a converter or a translator to translate this description file to our script file that can execute. So right now we can translate this something like, if the description file says, okay, this guy used TensorFlow version 1.12.0. And the runtime is Python 2.7. That's fine. We can translate that. But the others, like he used ReLU for activation, he used max pooling. That part is much harder. That part not implemented yet. We can right now only do something very basic framework and this basic platform and infrastructure job. That's it. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. I mean, I don't want to solve. I don't think we can solve all problems here. I guess I'd be okay if you said, hey, just point us at your whatever, IPy notebook, or point us at your Python file, and we're not going to do any investigation of the metadata or structure inside that. As long as it's, good enough, then we can execute it. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe over time we get to that future world, but I'm okay without that being there now.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a pretty long-term job because it's so hard to describe all the things. And okay, only 1 minute left. So the result is here. We can see this is a process log, and we use 5 approaches. Let's fast forward a little bit. So the final accuracy is maybe more than 90%, and this is a train file. The train model, sorry. So the last one is a inference. So we can choose some MNIST example as input. Yeah, this is a 0. So let's predict. So the result is a 0, and this is a model. Yeah, we just trained and we use it for inference.
Can you open the zip file? I'd love to see what the metadata inside it looks like.
Okay, good.
And I get that this is all just proof of concept. That's totally okay.
Yes.
Yeah. This is very basic stuff.
Yeah.
That's okay.
This is a file. Can you see that?
Nope. Your screen kind of weird.
Okay.
I think you only share the browser, right?
Yeah. I only share the Chrome. So let's see.
Yeah, you need to share the. Either you open the zip file in the browser, or we can see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, the training result is after we train the job, the trained model will store in this folder, and the metadata YAML is right now the metadata description file, but right now only framework part. This is the only part we can translate and we can execute this part, and all the others we need standardization definitely. So
understood.
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal of the project, right?
Yes.
To think through like what standardization might look like and what we can do to move that forward.
Yeah. So
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, our design is no matter how complicated or sophisticated this project, this ML job is, the things we want to submit is some codes or some data sets plus this metadata YAML, and one click, one button, or one command line. Then the OpenLab or Kubeflow or any other platform will automatically reproduce this workflow for you, and you don't.
Well, I don't know.
That is our ultimate goal.
I'm not optimistic about that at all. To be honest, I am a bigger fan of us being very opinionated and saying, sure, we'd like to reproduce this in any machine learning platform, but I'm probably a little bit bigger fan of saying, hey, you know what? We can reproduce any experiment, but you have to have Kubeflow installed or something like that. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
All I'm saying is that if we're a little bit more opinionated, that makes our job much easier.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So this is fantastic. And so this Moo platform that you built, how do we, is it ready for customers to, or not? I know it's just a proof of concept, but like, are you using it internally? What are you thinking about it?
I saw Xuan, the developer for MO is online. Xuan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think this is a publicly accessible open source environment.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Are there potentially English docs around it? I'd love to share with some folks. If there's not, there's no big deal. I know it's a proof of concept.
I think the guide.
Xiyuan, do we have like English documentation for OpenLab?
OpenLab?
Or Mu, either.
You mean you need a guide for OpenLab, right?
Yeah.
I would love to share it with some people to kind of explore if they could start using it or start messing around with it. And I do understand it's very, very early. You know, no one wants to hold you to it.
No problem.
You know, if there were documents around it, that'd be really wonderful.
Okay, OpenLab has a homepage. I have printed it.
Can you share with us, Xuan?
Yeah.
You check out the chat window.
Yeah, chat window.
Yeah, Zoom meeting chat window. No, you can still share.
旭元，你那边其实可以共享一下屏幕，就是 OK。Yeah, okay, fine.
So this is not like Huawei specific infrastructure. This is OpenLab. Okay. Yeah, it's totally open source, and actually the resource were like donated from the public clouds like Deutsche Telekom, City Networks, and you know, if Azure could donate some VMs, would be fantastic.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, so everything is like open source, and the Mu project, the thing that running the POC is also open source.
Very, very cool. All right, and so the summary is that this is something, and how many? Do you have a lot of developers at Huawei working on something like this?
We have like 1, 2. Well, Yedong is dedicatedly working in this project, and we might have other like 2 colleagues who can help with the, you know, environment setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, like I said, this is fantastic. So what I'd really like you to do, I mean, this is terrific. I guess you tell me what you'd like to do next. I would like you to, you know, just start engaging, do a pull request or whatever on the metadata repo for, you know, go and look at the metadata that we're starting to fill in that repo and tell us what you would like to see next. You know, maybe you you know, add something. Maybe you add your own format. Maybe you just tell us the format that you'd like things to appear in, whatever it might be, so that we can start, you know, taking this platform and using it as a way to reproduce data. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But we're just, you know, we're just at the very beginning of the ML spec stuff. My theory is that this plus ML spec have to combine together, because ML spec will be the service that connects the various services together, and this, for something like Project Same, will use those ML specs, instantiate it, and then go from there. Does that make sense?
So Project Same, like
Project Same was just obviously a paper. This is far more. This is far richer. than anything that I had seen, or than anything that existed in Project Same. But what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to figure out how to like really start to flesh out Project Same, or your spec here. We're going to need to figure out how to flesh it out so that you can, add a lot more features. So that
yeah, sure.
It doesn't have to be MNIST.
Yeah. So community-wise, I think you mentioned the initial target is the KubeCon EU to announce the project, or like when shall we like publicly propose this to the community?
Yeah, that was my exact thinking. I do like KubeCon EU. Did you get a talk at KubeCon EU? I don't know if you were accepted or anything.
I have a work group session accepted. Lucky.
Oh.
Yeah, fortunately.
Well, then maybe that feels fantastic for me then, because we could do it as a working group, right? So my thought was that we'll announce the projects, we'll announce ML Spec at KubeCon, but at the same time we could also announce Project Same at KubeCon that is relied on ML Spec. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so both within Kubeflow or.
So yeah, like I said, I'm not saying I want these things only to be Kubeflow,
okay.
but they're the only ones that I'm going to work on for now.
Okay.
Because I'm just artificially creating the problem until it works. Does that make sense? Until we get a proof of concept in place, and then if someone wants to take it and implement it on something else, that's great. But I don't want to try and solve every problem simultaneously.
Okay, so but at which session should we announce it?
Well, I don't know. So I have a session, and we can certainly talk about it there.
Okay.
We can also talk about it during your workshop. We could also not do it at any session, and we could just do it as a blog post that week. Any of those are possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't restrict it to Kubeflow, and also we don't mention like this will be part of CNCF or Kubernetes. So it's just it's just a new effort, right?
It is a new effort for now. That's not to say that's where I want to stop.
Okay.
Like I just want to. We're just going to start there for now.
Okay, understood.
Hi, David. I have two questions. One is that right now I think we should attract more developers who might be interested in metadata spec things, but who might be interested?
So I have a lot of people who are going to be working on this,
that's great.
who are interested. I'm just trying to get everyone in good shape, and then I'm going to create are you able to access Google Groups from?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start a Google group for us to talk about stuff.
Okay, great.
Okay, and that should be no more than a week or two away. Okay.
Okay, great. And the second one is the metadata standardization things, or should we find an organization to push our works, or it just remains in your private repo?
No. I already have an ML spec repo. I'm going to move it there. I just didn't want, what I didn't want to have happen is if we had a lot of conversation, private conversation, I didn't want it to be public. So what I'm going to do is the last step before we move things to an organization is I'm going to, clone the entire repo, copy it over, and then
I got it.
And then start from scratch.
Okay, I got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, that will also happen at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
But this is wonderful. I love the video. We should definitely send it around, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. Just shoot us email if anything you need.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the time, and this is wonderful.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Okay. Cool.
Bye-bye.